You want to know something crazy? My OBS is telling me that I have only one viewer right now. I swear this thing is trying to humble me. I go up your ass. Kiss, wow. Kiss, whoa. I go up your ass. I need a dick, and it's no choice. 100 wow, 100 whoa, 100 sip coin. I need a dick, and it's no choice. I'ma spend it on my boyfriend. And wow, bend them over, slap the ass. I go, bend them over, slap the ass. I go, bend them over, slap the ass. Press 1 for butt fun. Press 2 if you wanna follow through. Press 3 if you're gay. Press 4 for a three-way. Think about who? Think about what? Let's think about sluts. Do they know they're sluts? Let's find out. A disclaimer. You're a bitch. And you should feel like a bitch. Bake cookies and blank on 'em. Give the icing. So sticky. You should fuck. Men again and again. Even on a dick. Even on a bad day. I go bend them over, slap the ass. I go bend them over, slap the ass. I go bend them over, slap the
I make all my songs live on Twitch. You can check that out in the link down below.
Hi, welcome. It's really good to see ya. How are you doing, chat? We're gonna hang out, and that's the entire plan. Just gonna hang out with you today, if that's all right. What have you been up to? I kind of need some recommendations for treats because I'm getting bored of my treats and I don't know what to transition to. So I have mango pieces, I have zombie jellies, and I have sometimes a bit of chocolate. But, like, I just want something new. And recently, I've discovered that they started putting milk in something that I used to be able to have and can't have anymore. So now that something's been minused off my list, I need to add a new thing whoop, to a list. Otherwise, I can't go down in treat options. That's just not the trajectory my life is gonna go. I refuse. And it has to be better than that. Hey Martin, thank you so much. I appreciate the 78 months, sweetheart. Walnuts. Do you know what treat means? You know what treat means, guys? I have amazing news for you, Anita. What? What happened? Mr. Buccaneer, lay it on me. I love chocolate coated treats, peanuts or corn. Fuck yeah, Cody, you got good taste. I've been on the treats too. I actually forgot they existed, so I'm glad you brought them up so I can put in an order, you know? Uh-uh. Hey, Cody, thank you so much. And man, I appreciate you too, sweetheart. Thank you both for the bits. Uh-uh. Doggy treats? I don't think I can have doggy treats. And if I could, I don't think I would want doggy treats. But I also just don't have a dog. Question, how much do they underestimate you in Marvel Rival tournaments? I have a feeling you'll be really dangerous. I don't know. We'll have to see. Like sometimes my chat does call me the Tom Brady. Last pick carries the team, but I don't know. I don't know if that'll happen this time. Merritt, thanks for the bits. I do know that since my last tournament, where we had the lowest collective elo and the highest collective ping, and we still weren't the worst team. We had the biggest disadvantage, and we still didn't. We weren't last, and that's insane to me. This team is really serious, though. Last time I played in a tournament, no one wanted to play together at all. We had like an entire week, I think, to play together, and I didn't hear a peep out of them until the day we played. And with this one, everyone's really eager and everyone's so happy about each other's mains, and everyone's like, oh, I can really work with that. I'm excited. And like my team is like really happy. And it's a nice change of pace. I'm enjoying the enthusiasm, and we're gonna play together, we're gonna practice together. We're I'm actually really, really excited about it. Yeah, it does. It is nice. And you never know. One of the things I like about tournaments is you make a few friends along the way. I've been eating the dark chocolate granola. Has a bit of sugar, but it's a healthier option with the gray notes. I like it. I like it. I'm actually really astounded how many of you have suggested healthy things. I saw someone say figs a little while ago too. Like, you eating good. This is not what I expected from chat. There's a stereotype about chat that you all eat a certain way, look a certain way, have a certain dating record. And every day my chat completely obliterates that stereotype, to be honest with you. I haven't seen anyone recommend Cheetos, not even once. Bruschetta with lentils and feta cheese. I don't know what bruschetta is still. I'll be honest with you, Esme. Hey, 8 Bones, thank you so much. And Cody, thanks for gifting category. I appreciate it. And thank you, Mert. You whistle really well. Yeah, it's a survival mechanism for me because I have severe Tourette syndrome and it gets really bad sometimes. There will be situations where it's actively dangerous for me to tick. And one of them is like when school kids are around. So rather than offering school kids a fisting, like I whistle because I tick less when I whistle. But like I also have ticks that are a whistle. So that also forces me to do it a lot, which probably helped in making me a lot better at whistling. Are we improving after you're up? Hope you feel better. I do. My belly's still a little bit round and swollen. My belly hasn't gone down. I'm gonna have to Google when your belly completely flattens after this kind of thing. Because I still feel like a blimp. It has gone down like 50% from what it was, but that's still 50% more than I'm used to. Uh-uh. Oh, I don't think we have a Trader Joe here, Esme. We don't have Trader Joe's. I'm in the UK. Have you got stitches? Yeah, but like they're dissolvable ones. I accidentally wiped a stitch off. It got like rejected from my body and it came off yesterday. Ah, I don't know whether to congratulate you. I feel like it's always good, Schwabitz, when you have context as to what's going on with you. But it feels weird to to congratulate someone on getting a diagnosis of FND. But you know what I mean? It's like congrats on knowing what the problem is, and congrats on the early retirement. I hope. For Patroclus, thank you so much for the bits, by the way. What did you major in college? I don't think my system is the same as yours in the UK because I don't think I majored in anything. What does majoring mean in college? I did go to college. I did really well in college, but I don't think I majored. What does majoring mean? Oh, as in what did you study? Oh, I thought it was like a tiered system where like you have like one particular subject within your degree and whatever. What did you study? So I did digital media, games design, and animation. Yeah, I could have made you a sick website back in 2008. 2008. I'm doing architecture. That's pretty cool. That's a really good one. We're still gonna need buildings, no matter what happens. And I don't think we can trust AI to randomly generate us some buildings. So I think your job should be good for a while. Hell driver, thank you so much. Uh-uh. Did you find your degree worthwhile? No. My degree was kind of trash, but not because I picked the wrong subject. Well, I kind of did. I picked games design at first, but then the people who go into games design in their teens are usually fucked up people. So I ended up moving out of that class and going into animation. I got all the same qualifications and capacity and portfolio as I would have with games design. Animation even had a games design segment that we had to do. But it had just saner people that were less misogynistic and weird. Like games design, I was thrown in with like 40 boys that were all desperately horny and taking bets on who would get to fuck me first. They were like horrible, predatory, weird, geeky, nerdy boys that had no social skills and didn't realize that women were people yet. It was hideous and cringe, and it smelled like sweat and lynx in there. It was terrible. But like, I did animation, and not only did I learn games design in animation as a degree, but I also picked up on like lighting, set building, crafting, like photography, website building, scripting, 3D modeling, 2D animation, hand drawn, digital manipulation, film. Like we did all of those modules. The thing is though, my course was run mismanaged. Like several of the teachers got fired over and over again. The first lot got fired because animation is hard and it's a lot of different skills to pick up at once, and a lot of people who like watching cartoons aren't necessarily going to be cut out to make them because you have to be an actor, a mathematician, a photographer, a filmmaker, and it's a lot of skills rolled into one. People who can do animation are very talented, right? And so a lot of people go, oh fuck, it's actually really hard to make animations. I don't think this is for me. Just because I like animation doesn't mean I should produce them. So a lot of people quit in the first year, but it wasn't the teacher's fault. They were doing great. And then in the next years, the new teachers were thrown in midway through the course, and they were like, "We don't know what to do with you. Give us a month or so to figure out your entire like plan for this course, because we have to make a new one because the old one obviously failed." So they started doing that, and we had a whole month and a module where we were supposed to be producing work, but we weren't told what to do. So we just kept turning up to lessons to just kind of bum around and do nothing. And we were like really confused. And then at the end of that module, we all failed it because we couldn't produce work because they gave us animation grade projects that you would normally take many months to do, and they said get it done in a week because that's the time. By it was a week before deadline that they got a plan together for that module. So we all failed, and they were like fuck. And then the previous teachers sued for wrongful firing because they were told they'd been made redundant, but actually they were just being replaced by people because, you know, all these people quit and it wasn't their fault. So they sued, and rather than get sued, the college let them back and brought them back onto the team. And then they had a fight with the teachers to figure out what the course was going to be. So we still didn't know what to do. And there was, I shit you not, a lesson where we had to draw stuff just so that they could put it on the walls to advertise the animation course because they didn't have any coursework to display to kind of give examples of what people would learn. So we just had to do a bullshit class where we were just like, making fucking storyboards for animations we weren't producing and shit like this. They were like, just imagine we'd set you coursework and you knew what the fuck you were doing. Make some work that makes it look like you've been producing an animation. Anything. And a character design. Build something. Make a little backdrop that you're not even going to use for a 2D animation. Something. So we can display it and entice the next year's students to sign up for this. Right? And we were like, fuck, this is so fucked up. So we complained to the head master about it. And for the next year, the course was pretty good. And I did learn a bunch of stuff, right? But I only got like 1 year's worth of education and paid for 3. So that was interesting. Definitely worth getting, um, definitely worth getting into debt for, I must say. Also, I only got out of debt for that last year. Are you working on some game dev projects? No, not at all. What I ended up doing with my degree was I went to what did I do? I ended up using all of the qualifications for photography and set design and website design to make a craft store, an online craft store. That's how I ended up implementing that degree. All the skills I got from there made me fantastic at product photography. Because like the same photography skills you learn to do 2D animation, where you like, you know, like Wallace and Gromit and stuff, where you have a studio and you have like a little camera pointed at little models and stuff, and you do the lighting and everything. That was great for product photography. And then I did like a little website, and I did the little animations for the website and stuff. And I used the graphic design aspect to design my own logo and to make my branding and stuff. So that's how I ended up using it, and it was really effective, and it really made me stand out and look very professional compared to the other stores that were run by multiple people in a very professional sense. Like I looked like I belonged there, you know, selling stuff. So I guess it turned out to be useful in a way for a while. But then obviously I gave up that when I started streaming because streaming was more lucrative. So I was paying to go to work doing my craft store because I could make several times as much money just hanging out, talking to you guys and playing computer games. So I packed up my shop, but I still have my shop. Like it's still, all of my stock is still with me. It's just not on sale. So I could just immediately put it back on sale one day if I wanted to. When did you start streaming? 8 years ago, I guess. 2018? What would you recommend I do to make money if I can't work a normal job? There are loads and loads of really weird and wonderful ways to make money. If you're very, very good at a game, you could get paid to do coaching. Like, if you get very, very good at a game, learn some communication skills, learn how to teach, and you can have little set hours where you coach and teach other people to play games that they want to play professionally and stuff. That's one thing that you can do from your home. Um, Stuff that you can use your free skills and your free time to do, and you can schedule around when you feel able. I knew someone who had quite a severe disability, but she was a therapist and she did therapy sessions from her house. And she was a fantastic, life-changing therapist. She was really fucking good. There are so many ways to sell skills that don't require you to do labor if that's your blockade. I'm really time blind, so I can't turn up at 9 and stay till 5. I don't understand time at all, so that's just not gonna happen. Um, so I just work on my own terms. I've only ever made jobs for myself. No one's ever employed me. And I made jobs that I can do whenever the fuck I like. Also, voice actors, that's a real job you can do. And you can do it from home. But it takes a little bit of an investment because you have to be able to talk good, but also have like an environment that where you can record it really well as well. Bitch, what webcam do you use? I use like a proper DSLR camera, hooked up to like an eternal battery that doesn't ever run out. And yeah, that's what I use personally. So it's nice and clear. What's with the little wink? I have Tourette syndrome. I'm not doing it on purpose. But it's funny that you don't know why I'm doing it, but you're also questioning it. Because usually people wink to flirt, but flirting is when you do not mutually acknowledge that you are hitting on each other. Like if you say, "Hey, are you flirting with me? Are you hitting on me?" You've ruined the rule one of flirting, right? So like like it would have been a faux pas to ask if I didn't have Tourette's, to be honest with you. I assumed you were flirting with us for the past 2 years. Really? Think I could carry a flirt with this many people at once? Really think a lot more highly of me than I think of me, to be honest with you. Razzmatazz! Thanks so much for the 8-month, by the way. Uh-uh. Hey, thanks for hopping in, Holly. Hope you're doing good. Do your neighbors think you have a pet parrot, lol? Yeah, they kinda do. Well, they kinda did until I spoke to them. So, they genuinely believed that I had a parrot because 'cause they'd hear and things like "bastard" out of the blue, and they genuinely did not know. Also, it was just kinda weird that I would go and trim some grass and plants in my back garden to give to my rabbits, and they would watch me do that from their window, and it would just look like I bent down really because I'd trim it with really small scissors. So, it looked like I'd bend down to the grass and just swear at it, and then walk back in my house at random intervals during the day. And they had no fucking idea why, but they were still really nice to me. Um, so I'm really glad that they're very unjudgmental because they had no context and they still, they've come around and like fixed my house before. They're just like really skilled. Like I had a conversation with one of them and she just casually, she was like, "Ah, your door's squeaky. Do you mind if I just quickly?" And she just pulled a screwdriver out of her like pocket and unscrewed the screws and then had a look at them and went, "I'll be right back." Came back with a complete replacement hinge like 3 minutes later and screwed it back in. And it was a perfect door. And it because it used to scream. It used to go, and she full on fixed it. And she'd just do that. She did that with my fence too. We were just having a natter. Hey! Wow, I wish my neighbors were that nice. Yeah, I got really lucky, to be honest with you. In the first place I lived, the neighbor was my landlord, and I was really pissed off about that because I wanted to sneak my rabbits in the house, even though it was against the tenancy, and I couldn't because they could literally see in my garden, and if they weren't in the hutch, then they would know, right? I was like, "Fuck!" And I didn't know this until the day I moved in. I asked the people giving the house tour, like the estate agents, let us around. Me and my mate, we were gonna house share, and they were like, what did they say to us? I was like, "Where does the landlord live?" And they were like, "Up the street and round the corner." Bullshit. It turned out that I was renting part of a mansion. I thought the next door was like a block of flats that had been converted from an old Victorian big house. No, it was just an old Victorian big house that had been passed down for generations and is just one whole fucking house, right? And it was just I was living adjacent to a mansion and they just cordoned off a like the servants' quarters and made it into two flats. So there was people living above and people and me and my friend below. But anyway, so my housemate left and then I was there alone and they kicked me out because they told they had complained to the estate agent a few times about me shouting expletives, that I was a very foul-mouthed person. I don't think they never ever knew or ever asked whether I had Tourette's, and they were quite irritated about it. And I think it's just because uh like she was very godly and she would wake up and play choir music loudly at like 6 a.m. And like, I think that they were just like, oh, hearing me shout fuck and shit in the middle of the night and stuff, right? And then, yeah, and then they just kicked me out. And I was sad because I loved living there. Like, I really deeply loved living there. I feel like no one can have ever known about your devastating childhood. How do you project yourself confidently in spite of all the devastation? It almost feels like you're someone who seems normal. What do you mean almost? But yeah, like I would say that it is incredibly normal to experience hardship at some point in your life, either while you're young, in the middle, or at the end, sometimes all three for some people. And I feel like it doesn't really change whether or not you become a confident person. I don't think that's what influences that at all, because there are plenty of people who had really comfortable lives who have really severe anxiety attacks and are terrified around people. It's not a consistent predictor of how you're going to behave and how you're going to interact with people and stuff. It's literally whether or not you're relaxed and confident is just truly tied to working on yourself. And that most people are not willing to work on themselves and aren't willing to develop social skills. And I was really passionate about it because I grew up separated from people. I was really isolated as a child and a teen, and for much of my 20s for three different reasons, but progressively very isolated. And I was just really desperate to feel comfortable in a room of people. I was really desperate to connect with others. I just didn't know how. And I really wanted it to happen. I just didn't know how to get there. And so I read and I learned and I listened to people and I made a bunch of friends and I just did what I could to finally feel like I could connect, because I always wanted to. I think people take it for granted that they get to go to school and that they get to, have friends and that they get to have a normal workplace where they can be hired and, because it's really hard to get a job when you have Tourette syndrome, like really fucking hard, especially a job with other people. So I never did. No one ever employed me. And I think it just made being able to hang out with people seem like such a privilege that I did learn and I did work on myself in ways that I feel like most people don't. Like a lot of people never figure out how to hold a proper conversation, how to have a good level of tolerance for other people's differences, but still stick up for yourself and not be everyone's bitch. Like those happy mediums are intricate, and you have to learn them. And I never really felt comfortably confident that I had those skills down. It made me feel so lost and vulnerable around people. It was like all this body language and all of these things that people were saying were some sort of like secret language I hadn't been in on. And I was totally right. When I started picking up on body language and stuff, I could tell when a yes actually meant a no. I could tell the difference between a reluctant yes and an enthusiastic yes and things like this. And everything became clearer for me. And as I became progressively more right about people, like my instincts say things like, oh, that guy's a bit weird. Um, I have gotten more confident with myself and more relaxed around people. But Like, I surprised myself because there was a time where someone who's, like, a really big streamer in the space, and he came over to me and he gave me a bunch of, tokens for drinks at a party, and I was like, "Oh, thank you, this is so random," and he put his arm around me, and he said, come with me," and he whisked me over to all of his friends. I was like, "Oh, and he left. He gave me the tokens, he gave me a bunch of them and left, and I was like, ooh, I don't know. Something about that guy just seems kind of scary. Seems kind this he was nothing but nice to me, and I have no legitimate excuse to feel weirded out, but I do. And like I felt really guilty about it. I was like, how dare I? Entirely, I was like, how fucking dare I just have this person be so nice to me and still be freaked out and still be like, I hope he doesn't ever speak to me again. I was right. I was right about that guy. This was years ago. I was so right about that guy. And things like that have really taught me that I'm more okay, I'm more safe, I'm more clued in than I thought I was. And now that I've gotten here, I really enjoy being around people. Survival skills mean often trusting your instincts. Yeah, I mean, I didn't have instincts before, and it got me into a lot of trouble. I tolerated a lot of really bad people in my life because I didn't have those instincts, or I did, but I didn't trust them. I was like, I have anxiety. It's probably just anxiety, and I pushed through it to be around people, and that was a bad idea. And it got me in a lot of trouble with people. And like, there's things like I kind of guessed a few years ahead what happened with Dr. Disrespect, like, really clearly guessed. I wish I'd written it in a note to myself and said, "I'll open this if it comes true," or something, because I was like, "Holy shit." I called every detail of that long before it got revealed. Mega Man, thank you so much. But that wasn't a gut feeling. That was just by looking at how it was handled. Because I did, like, layers of deduction with that. I was like, if why would they fire the biggest cash cow on the platform? Like, it would have to be something incredibly serious, in order for them to remove them. And then I was like, if it was just something sexual or something like inappropriate, I don't think he would have been banned because there were other men on the platform who have done inappropriate and horrible things to adult women, and completely they're still allowed on the platform. So I was like, there's no way, the way that things currently are at the time, that he would have been removed for that, especially when he's so big. I was like, there's no way, it's just that. And I was like, also, they're not releasing the reason, and he's claiming not to know the reason. And I was like, I 100% feel like I've seen stuff about people being told the reason why they're being removed, right? So I've had people in my Discord server make loads of friends on my Discord server and then get banned for terrible, terrible behavior. And we don't usually tell people what they got banned for, because we don't want to stir drama and we don't want to throw people at them or make the situation more worse. So we just quietly ban them, get rid of them, right? Usually. And what was happening is people were cashing in on that, and they were telling people fake reasons or going, I don't even know why I was banned, or blaming the mods and going, it's a conspiracy. The mods don't like me, but Anita really likes me. You know, all these sorts of things, right? Copes. And they would quite often pretend that they didn't know why they'd been banned if they didn't want to say. And I was like, it has to be a reason that he didn't want to say. Because I strongly think that they probably told him, right? Or if they couldn't tell him, then it would have to be a specific reason why they couldn't tell him. So I was like, I deduced, I was like, it's probably Twitch not being able to tell people something like that, something like what happened. And I thought one of the reasons why would be like, if that happened, you like no company would want to fling that accusation if it hadn't been proven or gone through a court of law, because then you can get sued, right? It'd be really, really tricky to remove someone for that reason and tell the public in that situation. So like I kind of called it. I was like, I have a distinct feeling. I have a concern that it might be that. But I didn't say anything at the time because I was like, I didn't want to fling that accusation around if it wasn't true. I don't think that's fair. So I just thought it to myself and was like, Yeah, but stuff like that has taught me that I now know how to keep myself a lot safer than I used to. And I have a lot more situational awareness with people than I did when I was like 17, for example, or like 22. I was not very bright back then. But these things really taught me to be a bit more relaxed because I think I'm a lot better assessing situations. And it makes things a lot less scary. Like, I used to not want to go to like streamer parties and stuff because there was so many instances of women getting roofied, and I didn't want to play dodge the roofie just to hang out with streamers. And I was like, it's probably not good for me to avoid these people because I do admire a lot of them, and I wish I could hang out with them safely, but I just don't know how. I just don't know how. And now I feel like I can safely do that because of the social skills, just because of the pure social experience. I feel like I'm now better able to identify situations. Social skills is one of the most valuable things you can acquire. Fuck off. Yeah, I feel like it is. It's a matter of survival when you have Tourette's because obviously you're going to shout at people, you're going to be aggressive towards people, and that's going to get people's backs up to you immediately. And being able to diffuse that is a very quick, lightning skill that you have to be able to have. And the quickest way to diffuse things is to make people laugh. So generally, like, I weave jokes into my explanations as to what the fuck is going on with me so that people not only, because otherwise they feel guilty as well. And guilt can make people hate you. If people feel guilty, they will quite often stereotype you or be mean to you to justify their behavior so they can avoid the guilt. That's why people hate vegans, right? Because vegans make them feel guilty, so they make up shit about vegans to feel like everything they do to them is justified, right? There's a lot of examples of this. Bullying kids at school. A lot of bullies absolutely hate the kid they've bullied because they bullied him. And they want to feel like good people, so to avoid the guilt, they just tell themselves the kid deserves it. And every time they bully the kid, they hate the kid more and more. Bullying people makes you hate them more, even if they're completely innocent victims. Um, so like with that said, I like guilt is a really dangerous thing for someone to feel first. So if someone judges you because of your Tourette's, um, then you correct them and go, "Oh, I have Tourette's." They feel really bad, really, really bad. And so you can diffuse that by joking. If you make them laugh, they forget they felt guilty. Okay? And if you make them laugh, they feel like you're not mad at them and you're not offended. So it really quickly diffuses it. So I learned humor as like a survival mechanism first. I mean, humor is fun. Making people laugh is fun. But yeah, really, really important if you want to survive the world, if you have Tourette's and you keep offering to fist people. Humor is awesome. I love making people laugh. It's just hard. It takes a very specific type of skill set to make people laugh. There are a lot of people who try to be comedians and they absolutely tank. They walk into the room, nobody laughs. So you got to be really, really good. You got to have a very quick wit about you to be able to make people laugh. Hey, Cody, thank you so much for gifting a sub. It's hard too because you never know what kind of jokes are going to offend people. I love dark humor, but not everyone does. I kind of feel like that is also a social skill because you can vibe check before you drop a joke. Like, there's kinds of jokes that really aren't going to offend anyone, but there are like shocking jokes and there are dark jokes and things like this. And some people don't understand dark jokes. They don't understand that the joke is dark and it's only funny because it's not true, right? So like there are some people that think that if you joke about death or anything like that, anything serious, that you're just trying to make it seem unserious. They don't understand that it wouldn't be funny if you meant the statement. It wouldn't be funny to do that thing if you meant it. Um so yeah, dark jokes aren't for everyone because some people are genuinely just too stupid for them. Like, but other people, it's just not that kind of humor, you know? Like, I get dark jokes. I get dad jokes, but I usually don't find dad jokes funny, for example. But you can vibe check. If you get to know someone, you will understand what they'll laugh at. And so I think people who start flinging around jokes before they're vibe checked are just kind of inconsiderate. Like, that's the wrong order of play. Like, if you're excited to make someone laugh, vibe check them, understand them first. And then then you'll find their funny bone. But sadly, the funny bone isn't in the same spot for everyone. Like, sometimes it's their head, sometimes it's their hands, sometimes it's their. Terrence trying to interrupt me there. It's just located in different places, so you can't use the same approach every time to make a human laugh. Half the time, dark jokes are just being racist, to be honest. I don't know. Like, I've seen people joke about pedophilia. I've seen people joke about height, age, gender. All these sorts of things. I don't think like. So I'll give you an example of a really good dark joke for you, so you can understand it a little bit better. Like Frankie Boyle said, times are changing. It's really confusing for me personally, because the schoolgirls are dressing like adults, and the adults are dressing like schoolgirls. So when I'm driving around in my van, I don't know who to offer money and who to offer candy, right? And that joke isn't him going, ha ha ha, I'm a pedophile. It's actually a really dark way to point out that we are objectifying kids and infantilizing women. He's not really a predator. It wouldn't be funny if he was. If he just went, I go around trying to abduct women and kids, we wouldn't laugh, you know? But like the fact that he's pointed it out in such a dark way from a predator's perspective to highlight that is shocking and hilarious. You almost don't want to laugh, but you do because you weren't expecting it subverts your expectations of where you're going with it, but it makes a really crisp, clean political point about how we treat women. And you understand that the minute you hear it. You don't think, wait a minute, are you trying to abduct children in your spare time? You know he's joking, right? And so the dark joke is funny because it's like unexpected, but it's also really true. It's awkwardly true. And awkwardly true is funny. And so I think that people who just don't have the mental capacity to not take things literally do not understand that that isn't a pedophilic joke in that it's promoting pedophilia. If anything, it's a critique of it, right? Him role playing a pedophile in this situation is a critique of pedophilia. And so dark jokes are often a subversive way to critique the issue they highlight. So if a dark joke was racist, it would look like you were being a racist, but you were actually criticizing racism, right? Like songs from the perspective of a serial killer or a stalker, right? It's not because the singer wants to be a stalker and is romanticizing being a stalker. Usually it's a creepy song because you think about it from that perspective, and actually that's kind of whoa. There are plenty of like songs that are sung from the perspective of a creepy murderer slash domestic abuser or whatever, or a cheater or a drug addict that aren't about promoting any of those things, but actually highlighting how these people think and going, wow, that's kind of fucked up when you think about it. Yeah, and that's the point of the dark joke. A dark joke is often role playing as the villain to point out how bad it is. And some people just don't have the intellectual depth to understand that. So it's not for them. Because they'll go, what? You hate women? No, nobody who writes a dark joke about sexism hates women. The problem is with dark jokes comes when society changes so that many people do think what the joke is saying is true. Yeah, I think that's just projection and anxiety. People who do think it's true think everyone else is that stupid. But everyone paying to go watch a dark comedy set is there because they understand dark humor. So there isn't really a risk of that. And also, I think that 9 times out of 10, if you make a statement that does make sense, but not everybody can comprehend it, you shouldn't be told to shut up. Because I think there's someone out there who will deliberately misunderstand everything you fucking say. So all of us would be banned from saying anything at all if you had to take precautions against people misunderstanding you for every last thing you did. And it's like, you don't have to find dark humor funny, but, like, dark humor is specifically offensive to critique the thing it's poking fun at. If you don't understand that, just don't listen to dark jokes. But I think they're really helpful and really lighthearted way of delivering really important political critique. So I think they should still exist. I think that the world changes for the better when we have loads of delivery systems for every type of brain for political information and to get people thinking. Yes, exactly. So a lot of people wouldn't have really thought about how weird it is to have schoolgirl porn in this day and age if it wasn't for that Frankie Boyle joke, for example. I think that dark jokes can be incredibly optimistic and drive positive change. So they should continue to exist, and we shouldn't be accommodating the people who don't understand it. Because most of the people who don't understand it are people who are against it, not people who are with it. You know what I mean? Always support you since I know it feels because I have ADHD and I hate people telling me to be normal when I can't be myself. I appreciate that, Teflon. I really do. I hope you have an amazing day. Oh, and we got another super chat. Thank you. Yes, you're right. Humor is a rubber sword. You can make it you can make a point without drawing any blood. Holy fuck! I love that. Oh, you just can I steal that because it makes my point exactly without me having to explain the minutia. Yeah, that is. It's peak writing. Who said that? Everyone's shaking the jar because it's treats o'clock. It's so funny that it's a gloved hand because I'm pretty sure that that is taken from the time I did the Tomb Raider cosplay. Is that why it's in a glove? That's so funny. Anyway, I'm really glad that that's what everyone remembers from that stream, if I'm honest with you. I really am. So, yeah, let's give the bunnies their treats because it is time. Beautiful. You know, but you're last, little boy. Okay, is under desk cam working today? Pete's very excited. No? Okay, never mind. You can stop trying. Well, then in that case, we can give it to you over here on the bed. On the bed. That's it. Now face over this way. There you go. Can you see that? Was Little Britain dark humor? I don't think so. I think it was just like racist. I think racist and homophobic and stuff jokes do exist. I just don't think that dark humor is inherently problematic like that. I don't think it was a critique of those particular humors at all. I think that it was just putting stereotypes in absurd situations, but not really in support of them and not really for positive change. Yeah, go ahead and run that dono, Tony. It was punching down hard.
Don't forget to
Absolutely.
play Dark Souls.
None of you want to see me play Dark Souls. Stop acting like you would. Do you ever aspire to lead a normal life like everyone else, or do you accept some setbacks? Sorry if this made you offended every day, all the time. No. If I was easily offended, sweetheart, I don't think I'd be on the internet for a living. So don't worry about that. But like, piss off. I think I do really wish that I could drive, but my Tourette stops me. I do really wish I could have a normal 9 to 5 instead of being self-employed all the time, especially when I ran the crafts shop. Don't get me wrong, loved my job. I created a really ideal job for me, but I never got to clock off. I never got to feel like my job was ever done. And that's the problem with being self-employed. So I can only ever employ myself, which I've done really fantastically, if I do say so myself. I feel like for someone with this many disabilities, because I have so many, I have really, really managed to land on my feet. Most people with my diagnoses do not make it through life very easily and do not live very long and do not have much security in anything. And I got through it, and I'm happy with that. But I also want to know what it's like to feel like you finished your job and you've got the day free. And I want to know what it's like to be able to hop on a bus and not worry about anyone being violent towards you or you accidentally being violent towards anyone on the bus. Like, I would feel so much less concerned about traveling or living, being outside. I just want to know what it's like to be quiet. Like, to reliably know that I'm not gonna jump scare anyone. You know, to be able to go to like an art museum or a library and not be a menace. There's a lot of things like that that I really wish I could enjoy, like everybody else gets to enjoy them. Even being able to hold something fragile, like I get anxiety about holding and touching anything worth a lot of money or fragile, and I feel sad about that. I would like to be able to just handle expensive things. Like, there's so many things like that that I really wish I could have, but I managed to build an existence for myself that is really awesome and I'm really happy with. And I think like even a lot of normal people really wish to have a lot of the things that I do. So I don't really wish I could trade my life for a normal one because I made a life that is awesome. It doesn't have to be normal to be awesome. I love what I'm living right now. Um but yeah, sometimes I am a little I do wish that there were a few things that I could do like the average person can. I think there's a bunch of things that everyone else takes for granted. Um but still wouldn't trade. Do you not game much anymore? I'm literally in a tournament on Saturday. What are you on about? Last stream, I did nothing but gaming. That was all I did the whole stream. What are you on about? I don't even know how many tournaments I've been in now. It's a lot. I got sent so much tournament merch and stuff. I have like a whole room piled to the ceiling with just stuff. Like, you know, tournament hoodies and things like that. Like, do you game anymore? Your condition makes you you. I mean, it's sweet that you accept my situation. I have a different take on it though. Mine is you are not the things you didn't decide about yourself. You are only the things you decided about yourself. You're not the situation you're in, you're the things you did with that situation. Okay? So if you have an illness, you're not your illness. I have an illness. I have many illnesses. I have Tourette syndrome and ADHD and achalasia and a bunch of other shit, MCAS, EDS, all that stuff, right? But I'm none of those conditions. They don't make me who I am at all. They were the things I didn't choose. I am the things I did. If you choose to be a good person, that's who you are. Your actions are who you are. Those are the things you chose. That's your identity. You know? You didn't choose your body. That's not your identity. You are not your body. But you are your clothes, your makeup, your hair, your demeanor, your posture, the things you did choose about yourself are who you are. because you chose them. They reflect who you have decided to be. Yeah. I'd say people are more their piercings than they are their titties or their hair color, their natural hair color, you know? Woo! So I don't think I am my Tourette's. I don't think it made me who I am today at all. Woo! Do you have a guide to living with severe Tourette's? Would be appreciated. I don't. And I think it would be kind of redundant because Tourette's is such a spectrum and it really doesn't affect two people the same. So, yeah, I might throw things at the ceiling for a month and then never again. And I might have found some coping mechanisms for dealing with that. But it won't be relevant to me for the rest of my fucking life. And there might be like three other people with Tourette's who've had that same situation happen to them. Like, I think it's so way too specific for there to be like a survival guide that I could make that would be useful to like a decent amount of people. Also, things like I threw 8 phones in the sea. I threw 8 phones in the sea in a row. So I started uh buying like those impenetrable Nokia bricks, you know, those old phones. I had an old phone, didn't have like, couldn't go on the internet on it, couldn't take a photo with it, nothing. Had it for years, never lobbed it in the ocean. And I was like, fuck yeah. I think it's been many years. I don't think I have that tick anymore. I'm gonna get an expensive phone. So I bought a phone that was like modern and new, and I was really excited about it, saved up for it, threw it in the sea. So now I don't hold my phone when I'm near the sea. This is the rule. The phone gets zipped into the bag and I can't touch it. If the phone rings, I have to walk away from the ocean, walk away from the bridge or wherever I am that I could lob the phone. I walk away from it, I face away from it, and I answer it out of throw's reach, which is annoying because I can throw a decent way. Bill Mask, thank you so much. So yeah, Tourette's can cost you a fuck ton. And I think all of this happened long before I started streaming, which really pisses me off when people accuse me of faking my Tourette's, because yes, of course, I faked Tourette's for many, many years before I ever started streaming because I just knew I needed the practice in for the day that it would immediately make me famous. Because that happens to everyone with Tourette syndrome. There has never been a single person with Tourette syndrome that has ever pointed a camera at themselves and it go nowhere. Like, it's just an immediate meal ticket, right? And you can just predict that reliably. And yeah, I just shot myself in the foot and broke 1,000 phones and ruined my education, got kicked out, didn't get to have an education, stared at the same four walls with nothing to do, no television, for 4 years, just because one day Twitch would be invented and I would do well on there. Fuck off. Just sat there alone 4 years, going mad, going, one day this is really gonna pay off, bitch. I love you. That's some great planning. Yeah! I mean, who needs a childhood when you could just predict the internet and live streaming as a whole and just self-sabotage until then, right? What do you want to achieve before the end of your life? I did it all. I don't really feel like there's anything that if I died now, I'd be like, "No, I didn't get to do the thing," because all of the things that I've managed to do have been awesome. Like, I'm like, wow, I got to do more than I ever hoped. I achieved more than I thought I could in a lifetime, and I'm about 50% progress on life. Like, I got halfway through my existence, and I've achieved more than I would have in 90 years. So, but that said, a lot of my life goals don't involve children, kids, or owning specific things. A lot of people are like, "I'll buy a car. I'll get a mortgage. I'll pay the mortgage. I'll have a kid. I'll have a husband or wife, and then I will retire, and I will, and that like is their life goals. I guess because those aren't life goals of mine. I guess it simplifies achieving everything, huh? Do you still search the beach for sea glass? Yeah, I did it the day before my surgery. I was like, if I yearn for the glass, I can't have any for a while because I'm gonna be fucked. So I sat on the beach with a mate and we talked about obsession and searched for sea glass. It was great. What's the secret to achieving everything? And I don't know if you should achieve everything, to be honest with you. I think we are a species that only lives a tiny slice of time. So you have to pick small and get those things done. Really relish in that. Be very satisfied with it. Sit with the fact that you achieved it for a while, then set one more goal. If you set 10 goals, you're probably not going to get 10 goals done. But if you're like, one day I want to do X, and then you do X, you're like, wow, I completed my life's dream, and that was amazing. And then wait a few weeks before you even think about creating another goal. I think that will make you feel so much more accomplished and satisfied than building up all these expectations of life because you don't deserve anything. You can't earn anything. That is not real. It's a human concept and it's a form of human self torture. You can't expect or earn or deserve anything. The universe doesn't allocate experiences. It's not organized. Bad people get good things and good people get bad things. It's not like that. So you can't really control how your life is going to go to a huge degree. You can make good decisions and everything, but it could still be a disaster potentially. So if you base your life on what you get to do, you're going to be fucked because you can't control that. It's not in your control. So I feel like no matter how my life goes now, there's a lot of things worth living for, whether I get what I want or not. Like I can want for something, but to be honest with you, the fact that I get to eat good food, hang out with my rabbits, and I have friends means that I'm willing to face down whatever, whether it gets better or worse. I don't think we're meant to achieve it all. Yeah, you can't really 100% life. Doing X just makes me think, did you see people having e-sex with Grok yesterday? Yes, I did. I was horrified. What the fuck? How is that a public feature? That like I would understand if they made it so you could do that with Grok and DMs, but like on main in public, the Glock roleplay. What the fuck? What? Oh, you didn't see? So someone on Twitter roleplayed with Grok as if they were giving fellatio to Grok, and Grok played into it and responded. They did a whole thing, a whole back and forth, if you will, for lack of a better word. So like, yeah, you can just do anything with that robot. Also, I'm just weirded out by like, I feel like the algorithm on Twitter is specifically geared towards outrage. Like, it really wants to outrage you. I've noticed that I get more recommendations for things that upset me. So like, most algorithms will pay attention to things that you pay attention to, right? But Twitter will feed you as much inflammatory content as it possibly can. If it drives divides and prejudice, it will promote it and push it to you. If you're like, it will push the exact buttons to make you upset. For me, it gives me a lot of racist content and sexist content. I have to endure a lot of it's an emotional roller coaster being on Twitter. It's horrible. Other places, not so bad at all. Like I actually look forward to scrolling on any other platform, but Twitter raises my blood pressure What was your personality as a child? I mean, you all but dodged a bullet because my personality as a child was uh I was a mini villain. Like I was one canon event away from being a supervillain. Like an evil scientist slash assassin. But I grew up and I kind of grew out of it. Mostly grew out of it. Like, I was quiet. I used to do things like read the entire dictionary for fun, unprompted, unasked by anyone. I'd be like, I feel like some homework. Let's learn all of the words in the human language. Not just a few new ones, just all of them. Um, so I was like very, very how should I put this? Eloquent. Well, I used to say the kinds of words that most of the adults around me didn't know the meaning of. Um, so even though I grew up in a council, I sounded posh, and I wasn't trying to sound posh. I just knew how to pronounce shit because I read the dictionary. And I had this dream that I would become a scientist and bioengineer a way to get men pregnant, and then bioengineer a mind-controlling virus that would make everybody very peaceful and loving and warm and friendly and more averse to antagonistic behaviors. And I knew exactly which parasite I was going to reverse engineer because there's already a parasite that changes your behavior. And I was like, that one, I'm going to use that one. I also used to play games like I would put a balaclava on and break into my kitchen and liberate all of my teddies from there because I pretended that it was an animal testing lab. My mom took photos of me doing that. I had a balaclava when I was a little kid, like I want to say 4, 5, 6, 7, that age range. I was playing in my balaclava. I was committing imaginary crimes. My like you play games. You have like this thing in you. Your play when you're a child and role playing with the little toys and making them talk to each other and stuff, that is when you develop your survival instincts. So it teaches you when to shit, when to fuck, when to talk to people, how to talk to people, how to collaborate, how to have fun with people. You role play future scenarios, right? And all of the games and narratives I had were chaotic. Like I took all the chess pieces from my grandma's ornate bird chess set. You know, they're all carved. There was eagles and peacocks and stuff. And I took all the black pieces and I said, let's have a protest. So, like, all of the black chess pieces were protesting various things, not just racism, because I didn't want to stereotype them. They protested a lot of things. But my grandma really remembered that. She was like, you taped a little banner to one of my chess pieces and was like, let's have a protest. Um, I liberated my Pocahontas dolls from the colonist Barbies and things like this. I was an angry little kid and I was very well informed. I sat in on abortion debates when I was like 7, 8. I used to tune into parliamentary abortion debates as a child for fun. I used to do all this crazy. I wrote to my local MP. I knew my local MP. I wrote to her as a child ages like 8 to 11, I was pressuring my local MPs to vote in certain political directions. I was a Lisa Simpson child and I was angry. And a lot of my ideas for how to fix the world involved an unnecessary and extreme amount of violence as a child. That's so stupid. I look back at it now like, you were a villain. You thought you were a villain. Did your handwriting match your intelligence? No. Hilariously, now that I think about it. That shit was scribbly. Looked like a spider had a seizure on the page after being dunked in ink. Nothing was spelled right. But it was smart. What I was saying just didn't look smart till you read it. Had a high reading age, shit handwriting, couldn't spell for shit. Like, I could read to an adult level really young, but could write to a child's level really late. Don't know how that works. But I have one of the letters that my MP wrote back to me because of my letter to her. So, like, I have proof I was writing to them when I was a kid. It's dated and stamped. Because I kept that shit. I should frame it. But, like, I had special interest. I was like one of those gifted kids. I plateaued. My intelligence peaked at like 9. But, like, I've taken an IQ test on stream drunk. I got, like, 112 drunk. So, apply a little neurotoxin, and I'm above average. Because I think, like, the average is, like, 90 to 100 or something. Can you tell us what her response was? Well, they read out in a parliamentary debate, they read out my letter, so it might dox me if I go into details, sadly. But I was happy with my response. I was happy with her response. Not happy with her actions. I was like, "Yeah, do more, bitch." But, like, I was happy with her response. Like, she agreed with me, and she spoke about the points of things that she intended to do about that. Did you try again sober? No. I'm scared it will be worse than when I was drunk. Because I feel like I play a little bit better in computer games when I'm drunk as well. I'm worried that I will be dumber. I'm like, "That's my high score now. I'm not gonna touch it. I'm scared." Same, I think I was smartest at, like, 10 or 11, and it's all downhill from there. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that's called. I hate it, but I can completely relate, Sarah. A lot of readers have crap handwriting. The thing with my handwriting, though, is it's not that great, but I can do calligraphy. How does that work? I think a lot of my skills are surprisingly heavily oriented towards tattoo artist, but I would never get a tattoo from someone with Tourette's. I know my condition too well. Do you like chinchillas? I love chinchillas. They're the softest animal in the world because they have something like 18 hairs per follicle or something. They have like a really high hair density. And they are so soft and they like doing parkour and they freeze frame. They just zone out and stare into space. And like, so people have done this trend where they get like mini shopping trolleys and things like that. And they put one hand of their chinchilla on the mini shopping trolley. So it just looks like they're pushing the trolley and things like this because they're so still. When they have a think, when they just zone out and have a think, they really have a think. Uh-uh. Yeah, how can someone become an extrovert? I feel like introvert and extrovert aren't like default settings that you can just endlessly be trapped in for the rest of your life. I think that some people are introverts for environmental reasons. Like some people are introverted because they've been taught to accept and tolerate and over please other people and over apologize and fawn. And this means that they will spend time with and put effort into people who don't have any benefit to being around and are actually kind of draining because it stops you from being able to set boundaries and you just you feel like you have to please everyone and everyone has to like you. And if you become a people pleaser, you will end up inevitably making friends with and giving energy and time to draining people. And then you'll convince yourself that you're an introvert because you feel relieved and you feel like really drained and relieved when your friends go home finally. Like you feel like you have to hold everything in and try really hard, and you feel super sapped when you have to like, people have to recharge their social battery, and I think for some people, that's because they just have no boundaries, and that if they surrounded themselves with people that they actually liked and got rid of all the people that they didn't like, they would actually find hanging out with people energizing, and they would look forward to it, and it wouldn't give you minus HP by the end of the day. So there are some people who aren't actually introverts. They just don't know, that you can enjoy social interaction and that you're supposed to enjoy social interaction. There are also people who don't know that they have things like autism and they're masking. They don't even have a word for what they're doing, but they've been doing it for so long that it feels automatic. And if they got diagnosed and they unmasked and they were just themselves, they would probably attract different friends, but they would attract friends that they enjoy being around and they wouldn't feel like, what's the word? Drained by it. And so I think some people think they're introverts, but actually they're just struggling with unidentified life traps. And actually, they'd be really confident and happy around people if they just reshaped their approach. I think there are a lot of people like that, and they don't know it. Okay. I also think that there is just more states of being than introvert or extrovert. I think that there are times where you can feel confident and times where you're less confident. That doesn't mean you're introverted sometimes and extroverted other times. It just means you're a normal fucking human being and that you function to a usual degree when it comes to social interaction. Yeah, it's not like a like it's not binary. You know what I mean? Like so, there are plenty of people that you look at and you think, "Oh yeah, they're an extrovert." And actually, they would much rather be at home reading a book right now. Just because they're not shy and just because they can function in this environment doesn't mean it's their favorite environment. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if extrovert and introvert really is a good one size fits all. I think if you just think of yourself as an introvert, you might like skip a whole chapter of self development. Have you taken the Myers Briggs personality test? I have like a full on weird take on that. I don't know if you're going to agree, but I kind of think the Myers Briggs personality test is bad for you. So, people invent people used to use the Myers-Briggs as a way for students to define like where they'd best be career-wise. Like you used to take the Myers-Briggs test in university. There used to be a module where they'd get you ready for work and work on your resume and shit, and they'd have you take that to guess like what kind of sector you should be aiming for and shit like this. But studies have now since said that it's actually really useless, and that people who took it and then pursued their careers did not line up. It was not a good predictor of who you'd be and where you'd be best suited to thrive at all. It actually has, in study after study, been proven to be utterly fucking useless as a self-defining tool. Um, and the issue with it is, you'd think that it's just a harmless piece of fun, but quite often there's this thing called stereotype threat. Where if I sit here and I look at you and I notice a few things, maybe you got brown eyes, and I'm like, did you know that brown people, did you know that people with brown eyes are naturally worse at math? If I said that to you, and then you went and did a math test, you would score significantly worse than someone who hadn't been told that just before the math test. So if I design the expectations you have of yourself, it can be incredibly limiting and it can actually have really bad impacts on where you go and what you do with your life and how you behave. We call this stereotype threat, and it's one of the things that is a performance dampener for people who are experiencing like stereotypes, like sexism, racism, homophobia, these sorts of things. People experiencing those are at risk of stereotype threat, where they're being actively nerfed in their capabilities because of other people's belief in them, changes their belief in themselves. So if you take a Myers-Briggs test, the reason why I'm not too fond of them and I don't pay too much attention of them is because of stereotype threat. I do not want to be put in a useless box that isn't very accurate anyway, and then have unrealistic or inaccurate expectations of myself. Because that might be limiting and if I just try stuff and try anything and see what sticks, I feel like I'm much more likely to discover more about myself than if I try to let these sorts of personality tests direct me. And because I understand that aspect of psychology, I'm not really fond of personality tests. Yeah, you could get primed by these things, and I don't wanna. Yeah, sounds narcissistic. I wouldn't go that far. I don't think it's narcissistic to want to do personality tests, but sometimes people do get really addicted to them and they're like, tell me about me. And a lot of their entertainment is either tests where it's like, you can go on TikTok and there'll be a type in city, and it will give the city that your first result in the search will be the city you're destined to live in. These sorts of things. Some people love them. Some people love tarot card readings. It's like a person telling you about your situation, guessing a bunch of stuff, and you get a dopamine hit whenever it's right. You're like, "Oh my god, that does explain things about me. Oh my god, you're so right about that situation, about me." And there are people who get addicted to like, what Harry Potter character would you be? Or like, stupid things like this. Which character would you be in Avatar? Blah blah blah. And people are like, "Yes, quiz me about me. I want to talk about me. Ask me about me. Tell me about me." And like, yeah, I do think that there is a little bit of it's entertainment where you're seeking attention from an algorithm. You want the algorithm to reflect you, to talk about you, to engage with you on a personal level. And that's a yearning, but I just don't share it. Maybe that's a privileged perspective, and I don't think there's anything fun, anything wrong about being a part of that and enjoying those things. Maybe it's just the fact that people are a bit too obsessed with me sometimes and want to know like really deep nitty gritty personal details about me and want to be all up in my business about everything to a dangerous degree. And maybe I just feel uncomfortable when people take too much of an interest in me. So it's not one of these things that I just generally do for fun, because it's never been fun throughout my life when someone's like, "So, do you live alone? Where do you live?" Like the interest to that degree has never been fun. No, that's self-absorbed. I'm talking about getting who I am from an external source. That's narcissism. Uh, Kinda. I mean, I'm wary of talking about narcissism as it like flippantly, because it is a really rare mental disorder. It's not like every single human being has traits of a narcissist, every single one of us. Every single one of us has traits of autism, every single one of us. It doesn't make us autistic, all of us, right? So, on its own, wanting things to be very particular and predictable doesn't necessarily mean you have autism. But a lot of people with autism have that as a diagnostic criteria. You see what I mean? So, not everybody who wants an algorithm to give them a bit of attention uh, is a narcissist. Like, it doesn't mean that they're gonna be abusive, that they have cripplingly low self-esteem, and that they're gonna seek it from external factors and be incredibly manipulative and cruel and uncaring about how they impact others whilst they harvest them for validation. That would be a more in-depth explanation of narcissism, and it's actually really rare. Most people think that they had like a narcissistic ex or whatever because they just hated their ex and their ex was selfish sometimes. And they've read that selfish characteristics can be a sign of a narcissist. No, Jeff wasn't a narcissist. He was just selfish. Humans can be selfish and not a narcissist. And so I don't want to throw that term around flippantly, willy nilly, because uh, real narcissists are suffering and need treatment, and most things aren't narcissism. Jeff the Land Shark is a narcissist. I like Jeff, but I probably wouldn't get on with him in real life because he's incredibly cute, but then he chews things to death, and that would make me sad. And I mean, it's understandable. Like, what are you gonna do? Slit someone's throat and then chop them up and then cook them and then eat them with a knife and fork? No, not when you don't have hands. So Jeff has no choice but to chew things to death. But I don't like seeing things get chewed to death. That is quite horrifying and sad. And I have empathy, so I don't think I'd actually invite Jeff to a barbecue, but I still think Jeff is cute. I'll play him, but we couldn't be friends. What do you mean they're suffering and need treatment? They make other people suffer while not caring a lot of the time. Yeah, but narcissism is usually triggered, and it's usually a self-protective measure from being incredibly terrified and incredibly insecure chronically all of the time. And it's like such a high degree of suffering that they develop a self-protective automated behavioral system that actually makes everything worse for them and everyone around them. So it doesn't really heal the underlying wound, and the underlying wound is usually impossible to heal. If I remember correctly, I don't think you can cure narcissism. I don't think there is actually a way to fix it. People who go to therapy and have narcissism, they are going to suffer and they are going to like cyclically implode over and over again because of feelings of deep, sickeningly exaggerated insecurity. And like that is a form of suffering. Quite often, when you have someone who's suffering with a condition, especially a mental health condition, whether they truly mean to or not, a lot of them have people around them who suffer with them. It doesn't inherently mean that they are evil or awful, especially if they're not doing it by choice. And so I do think that with narcissism, it is something that we need to figure out a treatment for. I'm not saying that you should empathize with them while you hurt them. You should absolutely yeet someone whose narcissistic behavior is abusing or harming you. Absolutely. No sympathy. Kick them out. But at the same time, I still think it should be recognized that they are someone suffering with an issue. They're not somebody who decided to be awful one day. They are afflicted. And if they didn't have that affliction, they probably would be a decent person. And I think that suffering with a wound and bleeding on other people is different from just choosing to be a dick. Louis Theroux says a lot of interesting things about evil and how actually rare it is. Yeah, I'm not even sure I actually believe in evil, to be honest with you. I think that it's a really reductive and backwards way to look at bad behavior. Um, because evil is this idea that things are just tarnished and intrinsically awful and can never get better. And I don't think that's how most people end up doing bad things. How would you know if a narcissistic behavior is just choosing or reacting to a less severe wound that's just not diagnosable? I don't know. I don't care. If someone's being a shitty person, I kick them out either way. Like, even if somebody has some illness that's forcing them to be a terrible person, I still only get one life and I'm not going to let them ruin it. That's not my problem. And it's not my burden to bear. So I don't think it really matters whether someone has narcissism or not. But I do think it's important not to diagnose other people with narcissism when you're not a psychiatrist or psychologist. That you're not the qualified person who knows what narcissism is and how to diagnose it. So don't be attributing other people's behavior to that. Also, a lot of the time when people are being selfish dicks, it is curable. And if you label them a narcissist, you convince them they're a narcissist, they're never gonna seek treatment. They're never gonna fix it. The problem in this case is when it's toxic to others. Oh, yeah. But I think just having good boundaries is your best protection against those kinds of people because people who are predatory, people who are going to harvest you for something, they will look for your demeanor and they will test how tolerant you are. So if you put up good boundaries, they're going to move on to someone less exhausting and more compliant. So as early on as possible, when you meet someone, you should say, "Oh no, I don't really feel like coming and seeing you that day." You know, or um, they invite you to something and you go, "No, thank you," and you don't explain why. Like, set up a boundary and make sure that they are fine with it. And if they're not, scrap them. Would you say a narcissist is unable to reflect, like inherently their self awareness is broken? No, I wouldn't say that. I'd say that there are plenty of people who've been diagnosed with it who are able to reflect and go, "Yeah, I am a narcissist." Like, I've met people who are narcissistic and know that about themselves. I don't think it's inherently a pure lack of self-awareness. And also, I'd say most people are not very self-aware. Most people think they are, and most people aren't. I don't know if you agree. Press one if you agree. Uh-uh. Press one if you agree that most people are not self-aware. Uh-uh, bitch. wanna see how many of you are like, "Yeah, I'd say I've seen some unself-aware behavior. I've met some people who have no idea what the fuck they're doing or why they're doing it." Like, it can be small, like, they bought a chocolate bar and there was lots of chocolate bars to choose from, and they didn't realize that the reason was because the packaging was red. And if the packaging was the same color as all the others, they wouldn't have picked that chocolate bar at all. Like, some people think, "No, really, this is just my favorite flavor." And it's not. Like, you would have a different favorite flavor if it wasn't always packaged in the red packet, right? Some other people are like, "No, I genuinely chose to do this thing because I wanted to." And actually, there was a bunch of external factors that they're doing and things that influence them. Like, some people are just like that. Some people think they're genuinely moral, but they're doing something really deeply immoral. I think that's most human beings, to be honest with you. Some people have no internal monologue. Scary. I don't know if it's scary. It's just confusing to people who have it. Like, it's hard to imagine how other people think if they don't have an inner monologue. But like, some of my thoughts are images, some of them are smells, some of them are just imagining a scenario like happening and unfolding without any commentary over it. So like, I have had non-verbal thoughts, you know? So I think it is possible, and obviously animals think and process information and don't have like a spoken language. So it's obviously like the more efficient and more uh it's the more ancient and more established way of processing. Like, since the earth invented brains, that, non-vocal thoughts have existed. So it's actually really natural and normal. It just seems bizarre to people who have a constant inner monologue. I have ADHD. I have a few inner monologues. They're all interrupting each other. It's chaos. A dog's internal monologues just barks. I doubt it because I don't think their bark system is actually complex enough. I'd bet you anything that they just don't have an inner monologue a lot of the time. Although, have you seen those videos of dogs and cats with buttons that they can press on the ground and they say words like I want to go outside, or, they can press different successions of buttons to ask questions like what is happening tomorrow, these sorts of things. Yeah, I wonder if you teach them a language and give them buttons for words, I wonder if they start thinking in that language. And I wonder if that makes them more intelligent or less. Yeah, are they real? I hope they're real. Yeah, they're real videos. Like it's not staged. You can't They do have that degree of intelligence. I'm not saying nobody stages them. I'm sure there are some people staging them. But like, no, dogs and cats have always had that level of intelligence. And one of the things you got to realize about that is pigs are more intelligent than dogs or cats by a huge margin. So really we need to hook these buttons up for pigs because we could have much more in-depth conversations with them than a cat or dog. Yeah. My voices are constantly arguing, it's hectic. That's annoying. There are more species than just us that suffer with that issue. Apparently, octopus can, because they have neurons throughout their entire bodies. Each of their tentacles can act as a brain of its own intentions. So I've heard that like a few of the tentacles can like want to move towards the food and a few can want to move away from something dangerous or whatever, and that there can be internal disagreements about motivations with octopus even though they're more intelligent than some humans. Like, my ex worked in an aquarium, and okay, so maybe he wasn't a very good measure of like human intelligence because he cleaned the jellyfish tanks and then went for a pee, and the toxin from the jellyfish got all over his wee wee, and he paralyzed himself. Essentially, he was in so much pain he couldn't move. He had to call his dad to come and take him from work. But uh, him and the interns there. were given a like puzzle where you had to twist things and pull things and do all these kinds of things to the mechanism to unlock the food. And him and the interns would go at it for days and not be able to solve these puzzles that were designed for the octopus. And they'd give it to the octopus and they would solve it within a few minutes. So, like, octopus are crazy smart. But imagine being that fucking smart and not being able to agree with your own hand. And your hand's just going, psh, psh, and then reaching for food. And you're like, no, we're gaming. Like, that would be horrifying. And yet, somehow, these octopus manage to master all of that shit and get an entire lifetime's worth of work done in a year. They have like a really short lifespan and they're so fucking smart. Not only are they smarter than us, pretty much, but they get smarter than us in less than a year. So, like, imagine if they could live as long as us. They can open jars. I feel like that's the least scary thing about octopus. I love them. I think that it's fantastic we have a planet with octopus on them. That amazes me. However, when they move, everything inside me wants to escape. It makes my organs squeeze immediately. I can feel myself sweating. The smell of my sweat changes instantly when I look at them moving. They can squeeze through the tiniest holes, which is amazing and horrifying. I watched a movie and the villain in it was a an octopus. I didn't know this when I started watching it. It was such a mistake. I had nightmares for years. It wasn't what made me scared of octopus, but I wish I'd known that was the problem because that was the monster of the movie because I wouldn't have watched it. Was it Octodad? No, it was not Octodad. It was like I can't remember. It was like Europa 5 or something. It's a movie about a moon of a distant planet. We sent a team to go investigate it because it has a liquid ocean underneath. And one by one, they all get taken out by various problems with the planet. Yeah, it's a fucked up movie. Nuh-uh. Europa? It might have been Europa. Whatever the fuck it was, if you're scared of octopus, don't do it to yourself. They have beautiful eyes. I think they have cool eyes, but I wouldn't agree they're beautiful. Like, I don't like looking at them for long, but I am amazed. It's so weird having complicated feelings about nature. It's like, I love that you exist. Please exist away from me. It's so cool that you're smart. Please be smart somewhere else. Stop moving. No. No, no. It's the tentacles that make me panic. And the way that they just explode. They just explode through things. Like, they can move from something tiny and it's like blah on the other side, just really fast. Just. And like everything about that is like, too much. And the way it does this. Every single one of them does this. And like they're all so malleable, like they can wrap all the way around something. Ah, they're beaks! They have beaks. Who the fuck gave a fucking army jelly, like a sea spider with no fucking exoskeleton, a beak? And they just snip you to death with a tiny beak. So they have these big, strong suckers that can like rip your flesh with the suckers, and like you get just trapped in them, and they pull you towards their tiny, snippy maw. It's like being killed with a pair of craft scissors. No! Like, what an awful way to die. Sorry, I'm quite passionate about this subject. Have you seen that video of an orca exploding a sunfish just for fun? Yes! Weirdly, there are a lot of animals where, like, super intelligence and sadism are, like, really adjacent, it seems. Because orcas, baboons, chimpanzees, humans, are all incredibly sadistic species. Really sadistic. Oh, and dolphins. Really sadistic. I don't think there's many examples of elephants being sadistic. But if I told I might get banned for telling you all the things a baboon will do for fun. Like, those guys are not friendly. And otters. Don't forget their psycho otters. Yeah, they do sex crimes, don't they? They do really, really awful sex crimes. How smart are hippos? I don't know for sure. I've never really done some specific readings on where they place, but I think they are pretty smart. Because, like, I've seen their behaviors, and, like, they could be incredibly aggressive when protecting their young, but they can identify between different species and choose not to feel threatened by certain species. And also in captivity, they'll know that you're like, you know, those watermelon videos? Whoa, that actually scared the fuck out of me. I forgot you could do that. Holy shit. Anyway, thanks for the bits. There was a hit, but when you put like a watermelon in their mouth, the diagnostic process, the mental capacity that you have to be able to take a watermelon off of a human being is that the human being can be harmed, and the human being is delicate, but the human being wants you, a separate entity, to have a gift that you will enjoy. So you have to allow the gift to land in your mouth and wait for them to leave before you close your mouth because you shouldn't hurt the hand that feeds you. And all of that is incredibly complex to identify and understand to get to the point where you can be safe enough to be fed by hand by a human being. So I think even the fact that they take melon, it makes them smart. Because there are plenty of species that are not smart enough for that, like lions. You could not, that would, it will end badly. And often has throughout history. Piss on it. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. You're right. Yeah, I think as well, animals are individuals. They don't all have one brain. They don't all behave the same. So you can't measure the entire species by the actions of a few. Like some dolphins are not sex criminals, and many dolphins are, right? And there are humans that are sex criminals, but also many that aren't, right? So if you defined our species by the worst things it does, you'd have a really, really negative view of it, even though most of us would never do those things. Like, for example, there are a lot of human males that would sexually assault an animal if they were given the chance to death. I really hope that whatever species discovers us first, you know, if there's another species in space that discovers us, I really fucking hope they don't define us by them and go, you know, humans are crazy. You know, because otherwise we're gonna look like the ducks of the universe. You know what I mean? Everyone thinks terribly of ducks. Barely any of them rape anybody, but everyone thinks that all ducks are rapists and that it's just in their nature. It's not. If you see a duck doing a rape, you should intervene and stop it. It's not nature. That's not natural. It's the minority. Nature's trying to fix that. Yeah. But the thing with that is that, you know, if you defined us the way that we define other animals morally, we would not fare well in that judgment at all. Hey, Teflon. Oh, thanks again. Do you know the hippos and whales share a common ancestor? Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that some species throughout history, literally went, let's go on the earth and walk on the surface. That sounds so. Oh, never mind. Fuck this. Back to the ocean we go. Fuck you all. Ocean time. Like, valid, but hilarious. Because that's the story of the whale. Why are koalas? I mean, sometimes little simple animals are really impressive because they show you how uncomplicated our operating system needs to be in order for us to just exist and survive and have a life. Like when you see them just mindlessly stare into space and go, and like sometimes they're so stupid they'll fall out of trees just because they'll hold themselves instead of a branch and shit. Like they barely know they exist. They are one of the lower IQ animals, right? And they still have whole lives and find a mate and raise a child. Isn't that crazy? There are some people who like genuinely have a mental breakdown and need to be committed because parenting traumatized them that much, right? There are some people who get so overwhelmed about parenthood that it just breaks them mentally. And a guy with 2 it really astonishes me. Don't they all have STDs? Listen, that's not their fault, okay? And there have been many times in our human species where most of us had STDs. You know that, right? You can't keep holding that against them. I'm sure we'll fix it at some point as well. Our koala's always high off eucalyptus. I think they're just it doesn't provide enough calories for a complex brain, and it's kind of toxic. I don't know if they're always high, but I think they might always be ever so slightly poisoned, you know? I don't know if it's like tick damage where it's like minus 1 HP, minus 1 HP, minus 1 HP. But they just keep, healing some way, like they compensate for some way, or if it's just that they are just always ever so slightly nerfed, like a debuff. But it isn't the best food to be subsisting off, basically. It's definitely not brain food. Yeah, they're nerfed. That's a good comparison. Yeah, and a lot of us are. Humans are nerfed by quite a lot of things too. I don't think we should hold that against them, you know? And hamsters are pretty dumb. For a predator as well. For a solitary predator, hamsters are pretty fucking stupid. There are spiders that are smarter than hamsters. About 80% of humans have the HSV1 herpes by the age of 80. That's a horrifying statistic. Please be wrong. I hope you're wrong as fuck about that. Oh my god. Didn't we get that because humans did the do with the ancient ape? No, I feel like there's like an urban legend for every STD ever that it was caused by bestiality. Like that is the rumor of the origins of things like HIV and stupid stuff like that. People are just dumb. Like people just don't understand how viruses work. But no, no, that's not how a virus is invented. I googled it. It's actually 84%. Oh my god. So, but how are there this many orgies in old folks' homes? How?
Aquaman.
I don't think Aquaman did it. It's funny. Usually, I'm not around when you do that one. Oh, hello, little guy. He is asking me for attention. He's being very cute. He like stands up on his hind legs and touches the edge of the seat, and then stands down. He just goes hi, like that. And then he gets in position for love because he assumes that I've seen him, I've noticed, and I will now touch him with my foot. But he used to just bite me, and then I'd just withdraw and pull away. I was like, ow, and I'd pull away, and he was like, oh, what did I do? What the fuck? He would act surprised that biting me made me go away, and that it was not effective a form of asking for anything. Can I see? Unfortunately, that particular bunny cam is not working right now. Otherwise, I totally would. But for some reason, sometimes it gets signal and other times it doesn't. And today's a no peak day. Also, bunnies just don't like being picked up, so I'm not gonna do that to him if I don't have to. Sloths are great too. Those guys sleep upside down for 20 hours a day and slowly appreciate their day. Yeah, but like cats sleep for 16 hours a day. So like people hold it against sloths as if to say, yeah, what a waste of life. They just sleep for 20 hours of every day. And it's like, so do cats, and everyone fucking loves cats. And cats really live it up. Same with my dog, also sleeps 16 hours. Yeah, I mean a lot of predators have to. Ever been to a nursing home? Yes, I have. Mortifera, I don't actually know what that means. I don't know if you just misspelled whatever that word is, or if that's an actual even word. I have no idea what that means. But thanks for asking. Moody, thanks for the prime, sweetheart. Bitch! There are koalas who sleep for 22 hours just to digest the poison leaf. Literally just has a smooth brain. Yeah, I mean, wrinkles can be awesome, but I do think there are advantages just not having, let's call it an efficient brain. Somehow they have a complex operating system enough to live a whole life, raise kids, survive, and we really struggle to make anything as complex or smart as a koala. Loquacious. Adjective that means tending to talk a great deal, speak freely, or chat excessively. Yeah, I'd say so. Huh. I learned a new word today. Like we can't even get a robot to consistently dance and survive just dancing, let alone everything a koala has to go through on a daily basis. So you could call them smooth brain if you like, but we're not smart enough to simulate any of the shit they achieve in their life. Storami, bro. Thank you. Why are we launching rockets to hit the moon? Yeah, apparently a lot of scientists are very excited about it because they can study how craters form and how mist and dust settles on the surface and stuff like this. So they're quite excited to see how that happens because I don't think we really see a lot of impacts with the moon, but it has a lot of craters, so it'll help us to understand like how those craters form and give us info, so we can speculate about like what's been hitting the moon and how fast it hit the moon and how long ago, all these sorts of things. So a lot of the scientists are like, ooh, but a lot of other people are like, who gave you the right to trash our moon? It's not your moon. What the fuck? Ownership is a human concept. I'm not sure that it is entirely. I get what you're coming through, though. I think we morally agree, but like, just to be irritating and nitpick, loads of animals believe that they own territories. Loads of animals believe that they own specific items and will fight you for them and will hurt you if you try to take them. Loved you in the Sidemen video. Thank you. That's made my day. You're incredibly sweet. I like how Peter owns you. Well, I think he believes he does. Go ahead and run that donut hunt. Oh, thank you, Saffron.
There's a bit of irony to dark jokes bringing light to dark situations.
I'd agree. What were the last two books you read? I don't even remember, man. I listen to a lot of books now these days. I'm listening to a lot of finance books because I want to save for my future, which is going to be incredibly difficult for most people these days. So I want to get it right because I do not want to be in the position that my parents were in when I die. So, like, to put things into perspective, because my mom and dad died so young and they died last year, right? I've been like, fuck, I need to sort my will out because I have animals and I need to make sure that they're going to be well taken care of by the right people if I pass away. And also, there's some things of mine that are probably worth some money, and I think they should go to the right people instead of just being sold for the state to take and use or whatever, or thrown in a landfill because nobody knows how much they're worth, you know? So I started doing my will, and I got some advice about it because I wanted to do it right. And this will advice lady was like, "Fuck off, bitch." Fuck off, bitch. She basically said, "Oh, I know it's a long time away, but I just need to collect this info. Um, like, what do you reckon? Have you had a discussion with your parents about inheritance? Because obviously you're young, and it's a very long time away." And it's obviously an awkward question, and she kept saying more and more, and I was like, "Yeah, but yeah, and I kept trying to interrupt her, and I couldn't. So she was digging her grave deeper and deeper with this. Um, and then I was like, "No, they both died last year, and there was no inheritance. Like, they both left barely anything, essentially." And my mother's death actually just costed me so much money and will continue to cost me so much money for a long time as yet. Like, people don't realize. So not only she moved all of our stuff into a storage facility, and I had to pay a monthly fee for her storage facility to make sure all of her worldly possessions didn't get thrown away. Then I had to spend about £4,000 moving them across the country to be closer to me because I couldn't go away from home long enough to sort through every single item where it had been placed, right? And then now it's in a storage facility, and I just have to chip at it for ages, and it still charges me every month a lot of money to store it all, right? So there's that expense, but I had to pay for her grave site. I had to pay for I still have to pay for her grave because I want to make her a good grave. And that will be thousands of pounds as well. Then on top of that, there was just a bunch of other I had to pay for a funeral and the wake and the after party. And I paid for a bunch of her friends didn't have a lot of money and were scattered across the place, so I paid for their transport for them to come from all over the UK to come and see her and be at the funeral. Um, so I paid so many thousands of pounds. I had to dip into a lot of my savings to cover everything that happened to her. Um, and yeah, there were even more expenses as well on top of that. But yeah. So with that said, like, my parents costed me money. They're not gonna leave me anything. They just costed me a huge amount of money. My dad will cost me a bunch of money for different reasons, long into the future as well, unfortunately. So some people gain money and property from their parents. I did not. And for me, I just want to make sure that everything is handled well and is well thought out because it's so hard to figure out and come up with solutions for all of this when you're grieving someone or when you're grieving multiple people. It's the worst time to be figuring out who should be getting the cutlery and the china set and who should be getting the pots and pans and stuff. It's just not the time. And neither of them had a will. Neither of them. For real, it's expensive to die. It really, really is. And I'm going to start like paying for my own grave. So that's less complicated. I'm gonna like start paying for my coffin and I'm gonna choose all the details and where I get buried in advance. And I'm just gonna pay money every month or so to pay it off. Because I'm not doing that to my friends and family. Fuck that. Sorry for your loss. Thank you. I mean, I have to try not to be mad because both of them knew they had health problems for quite a while. My mom knew she got diagnosed with cancer the year before she died. And she had a lot of time. She didn't have a job, she didn't have anything, and she didn't write a will at all. She didn't stipulate or sort anything. And my dad knew that he had kidney failure for a few years. Um, and he never wrote a will or prepared anything. So, if they had, it would have simplified everything for everyone so much. And that really taught me a lot of lessons about death. You have siblings? No, I don't have siblings. They may not have done great financially, but they managed to give you us. Well, I'm not going to fault them. I didn't really expect anything from them. I've been financially taking care of my mom for a very, very long time. And so I never really expected anything from her. But, like, yeah, I obviously am very grateful to be alive, of course. I like your necklace. Is that a bird skull? It is. I actually have a skull collection that I'm just starting to unwrap. I've got a few skulls behind me. You can see like a deer just above my thumb, and that one's a goat just above my thumb there. I'm pretty sure that's the goat I got electrocuted for. I also have like a few real crow skulls. Yeah, the Zapta flap that I took for that goat skull was worth it though. Mm-hmm. Zapped. Yeah, like I tried to step over a very high electric fence and it was turned up as high as it possibly could be because it was containing goats and goats are escape artists. So you have to have very strong electric currents through goat fences, apparently. I did not know this until one actually fucking launched me. Like I tried to step over it, didn't make it, electrocuted my cooch, and then I just went chong and got thrown. Sorry, but that's hilarious. I was rolling. Like it threw me down a bank. So my friend was walking up the bank and I just went blah, 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 down the hill. Yeah. Side effects? What from that? I mean, I don't know if there are any. Maybe that's why I can't remember anything anymore. Maybe that's where my short-term memory was. Left it on that goat fence. Glad you didn't seriously get hurt. I'm going to tell you now, Glenn, I'm one of those people that should have been very severely hospitalized permanently a long time ago. My I've gambled with my physical health for a long time. I've been jammy as fuck. Feel like I've encountered a rare Pokemon. Yeah, settle in, Creeping Death. I'm just talking to chat for a little bit today. I'm just taking it easy. I'm slowly re-entering streaming life after being away because of my surgery. So you're all being gentle with me, okay? I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. Do you have any other skulls? I have rat skulls, rabbit skulls, cormorant skull, pigeon skull, two crow skulls, deer skulls, horse skull. Um, did I say goats? I've got multiple goat skulls. I feel like I'm missing some, but those are the ones I remember off the top of my head. No dogs? No, because I haven't really ever had a pet dog. I started stealing rabbits from the cattle market because they were gonna get killed when I was like a toddler. So those were my first pets. And the thing with rabbits is they shouldn't be kept alone, so you need to get them friends. So I'd always end up with like a few bunnies, and then one would die and need a new friend. And then that one would die, and it would need a new friend. And like so I couldn't ever get dogs because I've never met a dog I would trust at home with rabbits. And if you keep rabbits in a backyard hutch, they die within a few years. But if you keep them indoors, they're more likely to live to up to 15 years. So I have indoor rabbits, and that's really hard to juggle with a predator. I've always wanted ferrets. My whole life I've always wanted ferrets, but I can't because I have rabbits, and I've never run out of rabbits. It would be unethical for me to run out of rabbits. There's always one left that needs a companion, you know? Um, so I've never had any predators. And so quite a lot of my skulls, I either come across them in the countryside on my travels, or I will bury my animals. And over time, sometimes the dirt just surrenders the skull. Sometimes the skull is just strangely on top of the soil one day, which I find interesting. Um, and other times, like if I weed the plant pot or whatever that they're buried in, sometimes their bones get pulled to the surface. And so sometimes you're like, oh, that's really pretty, and you just take it in. What's your favorite UK wildlife? It's definitely not the humans, that's for sure. I'd say it's probably the foxes, the deer, or the badgers. Really love all three of those. Otters are all right, but they will lock eyes with you and masturbate, which I do find a bit weird. Never had a badger do that to me, so I think badgers score a little higher. What? Yeah, there's like a butterfly and otter sanctuary that I've been to many, many times. I fucking love that place. I've been there many birthdays. It's a great place, right? And there are some otters there that you can go watch, and you can even pay to feed them, and they sound like squeaky toys. It's really cute, and they have multiple different species of otter. So you go and you can do a tour, and you can go from enclosure to enclosure and learn about all the otters, right? And there is this, I think he's called Big Dave, and everyone knows about Big Dave because he will literally jerk himself. He'll just sit back, look at you, and jerk off. Just right in front of you. Told you, psychopaths. Yeah, they just got an interesting way of life is all. Who am I to judge their culture? Have any skincare advice? I'm almost 26 and my skin is worse than when I was in high school. I don't know if this is interesting, but I got you, Sarah. So, first of all, learn what skin type you have. And what you need to do that is just go makeup free. Don't use any harsh things to wash your face with at all. Use the mildest unscented cleanser on a washcloth. Do not use face wipes. Do not use packaged face wipes. The ones that look like baby wipes but are face wipes. Do not use them. They will give you spots. They consistently give everyone spots. You will not have clear skin if you use them. Right? So just do that for a few days so your skin barrier fixes itself and behaves how it would if nothing had touched it. And then you'll see what type of skin you have. Maybe you have oily skin. Maybe you have flaky skin. Maybe you have acne. Maybe you have like rosacea. You will figure it out. But like you need to find out on your resting state, when all you've done is wash it once before bed. Okay. And then from there, you need to go on Reddit. And you need to go on r/skincare or like the most popular, most heavily traffic skincare oriented forum you can find on the internet. And you will find somebody talking about your skin type and what they use to have really amazing skin. And also you can ask for advice there because there are skincare professionals and all sorts there. And yes, some people will say some dumb shit, but the actually accurate responses will be pushed to the top. So if you type in like r/skincare dry skin, and you do a search in that thing, you will find loads of tips, loads of mistakes, loads of advice. And people can kind of like crowdsource really amazing products, really amazing advice, things that will fit you and your type of skin. If you have a specific type of Asian skin, for example, not all of the advice that everyone's giving is going to be best for you. But if you type like Asian skin into that forum, you'll see people with your specific skin talking about what worked for them specifically. And so the information can get really, really, really good. It doesn't have to be expensive to be good. Yeah, I completely agree. Absolutely agree with that one. Oily, flaky mix. Oh, warrior, bitch, 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 you flaky bitch. You might not actually have oily, flaky. Usually, if you think you have oily, flaky skin, it's very, very common that you have seborrheic dermatitis. Google it. Go Google seborrheic dermatitis right the fuck now. If you think you have oily, flaky skin, look that shit up. Go. You've got a case of the face dandruff. You got a fungal thing going on. Sounds pleasant. It means you need to start washing your face with anti-dandruff shampoo. And it'll keep coming back unless you get your ears and crevices as well. Like, I had it, and it might have been part of why I was starting to get hair loss, because it can block all your pores of your hair and make the miniaturize your hair follicles. So having untreated seborrheic dermatitis on your face can lead to baldness. So you need to treat it, right? But using anti-dandruff shampoo with specific chemicals in it, like ketoconazole, that's a really, really good chemical and you can get it in an anti-dandruff shampoo. You can wash your face with it, wash behind your ears and deep into your ear crevices with it. I wash my face with anti-dandruff shampoo a couple of times a week. Hell yeah! Zinc-based sunscreen will actually help with that too. I didn't know that. That's really good information. Oh, I keep asking it to nicely leave. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work long term, but you do you, boo. You do you. Does it ever go away or just has to keep treating it? For a lot of people, it never goes away. You have to keep treating it, but treating it means that nobody would know you ever have it. Whereas people who don't treat it end up having like eyebrow dandruff and dandruff in the nook of their nose. You know the C shape right here, where your nose meets your cheek. If you're getting loads of flakies there and you're really oily, you're an oily, oily bitch, you probably have seborrheic dermatitis. And it can spread to your scalp and make you dandruffy in lots of places. So you really need to start using an anti-dandruff shampoo. And the natural ones don't fucking work. Trust me, I'm a big proponent. I love natural stuff. But it doesn't work when it comes to this. This is not a natural remedies kind of solution. How come she doesn't have motor tics? Oh, I do. I've had many motor tics throughout this whole stream, actually. So, but a lot of my motor tics are in my feet and legs, so not all of them will be apparent on a live stream where I'm just sitting here with you. What the fuck is Vella's hair? What? Has a tick ever made you fall off a chair? If it has, I don't remember. Maybe. But I don't think so. Yeah. Vellus hair is peach fuzz. Oh, I just leave that. Yeah, I'm not gonna be bothering with peach fuzz. Is it weird to say that when I had that, I enjoyed removing the flakes? I think it's natural for us to enjoy like popping zits, picking things off others and ourselves, because we evolved from a primate that socialized in this way. So it makes sense that our brains are designed to derive pleasure from grooming each other. Like, not grooming in the weird way, like picking head lice out of each other's hair and stuff like that. Like, that was how we collaborated and loved each other and took care of each other and affirmed social bonds for like millions of years. So it's no fucking surprise that you enjoy removing flakes and things like this. You have a natural instinct to enjoy that. So wait, me enjoying my popping pimples is just my chimp brain chiming in? Yeah, but if you're gonna name your brain after any current primate, you're more bonobo brained than chimp brained. That's your bonobo brain chiming in. Right. If you remove peach fuzz, it'll only come back stronger than you ever imagined. So, do you know why we think that hair comes back thicker? Whoop, if you chop it off? Because like it doesn't work with your dick, so why would it work with your hair, right? It's not. It is an old like wives' tale, but it comes from an origin, like a tiny grain of truth. Because when you chop something down to the base, a hair is shaped like this. Like it gets thinner towards the tip. It starts off thick at the bottom, gets thinner towards the tip. So if you chop a hair and then it carries on growing, it looks thicker at the end than it would if you had never chopped it at all. You know, if you'd never shaved it. This is a very, very temporary illusion that isn't actually the hair follicle getting wider, and the hair itself isn't really getting wider either. Just the tip of it is wider, right? That's all that's changed. So it's not going to grow back faster and it's not going to grow longer. And technically, it's not actually thicker. It's just no longer tapered at the end. And that taper is a good design for your hair. Like, I'm pretty sure it helps it to like last, and that having it like chopped at the end isn't good. But yeah, that because of that, when it regrows, it does look thicker, even though it's not actually thicker. It's just not tapered. So you're seeing the thick end pushing through as it regrows, which makes it look like a thicker hair has grown back. But that's not the same. So if you shave a child's hair, a lot of parents shave their daughters' heads when they're in primary school and the kids cry about it and stuff. And they're like, I'm doing you a favor because when you're older, you're going to have long, luscious hair because of this. That's not how that works. So as soon as that 4-year-old hair, when it gets to like a few years and it's grown and it's gone into its like stage of falling and shedding, like then it's going to be a non-tapered hair again. You don't permanently change the way your hair grows, and you don't make it grow fast or anything like that by shaving it. Yeah, so it's just an illusion. It is just an illusion. Anita is the first I've actually heard explain that correctly. I do my research. I learned about this quite young. When I got the internet for the first time, I got it late. You guys had it your whole lives. I did not. So like I got the internet when I was in my mid to late 20s. No, early 20s. Like I had a laptop briefly around 18 or 19 because I borrowed it from my university, but I didn't really have proper regular access to the internet until like my early 20s. And this meant that it was such a mind-blowing privilege and I wanted to know everything. I wanted to ask it a million questions every day. I was so curious about everything. Everything. So yeah. I think when you grow up with it, I think you take it for granted because a lot of people just don't know the answer to basic questions. It's like, you could literally ask the stone in your pocket right now, how are you just allowing yourself to wonder? What are you doing? Like someone will go, huh, wonder why the sky's blue. It's like, the answer is in your hand. What are you doing? What are you doing? The internet is a marvelous resource. Exactly. You sounded like me when I was 10. It's just like, if someone was lost and they went, huh, I wonder what way I should go. Guess I'll just guess, or I'll never know. Hopefully, I end up home. And it's like, there is a sign right there that tells us where we are. Why wouldn't you look at it? Why would you leave it? Why would you spend the rest of your life not knowing if you're going to get home? The sign is there. The information is like a look away, a small turning of the head. What are you doing? And that's what it feels like when people choose to be stupid in the age of the internet. And then people are more annoying because they go, well, Google lies. Sometimes, how do you know that Google's telling you the truth? What are you going to believe, Google? And it's like, Google does not tell you a thing. It just gives you sources. And it's like, you believe the sources that are the most either peer-reviewed or they get the least benefit from telling you the truth. So if someone makes a bunch of money from telling you something, you probably shouldn't believe them. If someone's going to get a bunch of votes for telling you something, you probably shouldn't believe them, right? You should believe the person who has nothing to gain from telling you it. The person who found out this thing just to know, with all the evidence cited. That's who you should believe. And like Google just gives you a bunch of sources. It doesn't actually tell you. Well, I guess now with the AI overview, it does tell you, but I don't think you should trust AI overview. I've seen a lot of problems with that. Yeah, I think like the most intelligent people on the planet, the ones who know how to fact check. People who can check sources will rule the world. It's the most valuable skill, aside from social skills, the most valuable skill you can have as a human right now. How are your bunnies and bugs? They're very good, actually. I am gonna say goodbye to you early because not that early, to be honest with you, because I have to go take care of them today. I have things to do. I have to complete my cycle. Because like I feed my bugs and then they feed me. I don't eat them, but like they produce like my cockroaches produce soil, which then I give to the worms along with all my food scraps. They turn it into fertilized compost, which I then use to grow more food, which then feeds me, and then I use the refuse from that to feed them, and we have a system, right? So I gotta go take care of them so they can take care of me. Have a good night. Thanks, you too. That's so cool. Thank you. There's a lot about my life I wish I could share with you, but I don't know how to do it safely. There's a bunch of really freaky people that are constantly trying to find where I am and attack me and hurt me, or, do weird things like make a website with a brothel in it and like AI generate some porn of me and say that I do like rape role play and try to divert loads of weirdos to my house. Like loads of things like that. So it means that I can't show you like the cool shit I get up to and the systems that I'm designing and the things I take care of. Yeah, it means that I can't take you into my back garden and I can't, show you like the setup I have for my bugs and stuff like that because it would give away too much about my room or my house and people could try and find it. So, like, I'm really struggling content-wise. And like it really hinders me as well. Like there was a couple of times where people have tried to do TV shows with me, and we've been in talks, and then they couldn't do it because a huge chunk of it they intended to set up at my house, and there's just no way to do that without putting me in danger and ruining my life. So, like, there are loads of things that are huge opportunities that I've lost and things that I really wish I could have done that I just can't do because there are some horny little weirdos that have just made it their life's project to try and find me and cause me harm, and they literally do nothing else with their time. They spend thousands of hours doing it. So when I figure out how to safely show you things, my whole life's gonna be amazing. The website I found of you is just a soundboard of all your ticks. People have used that in just the weirdest ways. I could give you a list of things that people have done that would utterly surprise you. But yeah, my life has been very weird, and one of the weirdest things that's happened is that I just literally can't show you basic shit like my bathroom. How weird is that? I'll see you later though. And yeah, Saturday stream will actually be a tournament instead of the usual videos. I don't know when I will move the videos to though. I don't know whether I can, I don't know, do a Sunday stream or like an extra stream next week with them, or if I can just double up the videos for the Saturday following. I don't know what I'll do. It depends on when the tournament ends. Okay. So I'm gonna be practicing a lot of Marvel Rivals for the next few days as well. I'm gonna go crazy. Yeah, thanks for being here, everyone. It's nice to be back. I'll catch you later, though. You have a good night.